When Linsey Davis was a little girl, she was mesmerized watching Olympic skater Debbie Thomas. She was also inspired to shoot for the stars, and that's exactly what she did.
Linsey Davis is a two-time Emmy Award-winning journalist and anchor for ABC News Live Prime. She is also a New York Times best-selling author who has written several inspiring children's books. In her latest book, Girls of the World, Linsey celebrates equality and fairness as she encourages girls of all shades, sizes, and ages to be brave and take their place in our challenging world.
Linsey joins us via Skype. Linsey, welcome back to the 700 Club. Great to have you on today.
Thank you. Glad to be back with you, Terry.
Let's talk about what inspired you as a little girl.
Oh, there are so many things, but I think probably chief among them, I would credit my parents with pouring into me that I could. And I think I was either silly enough or smart enough to believe them that whatever I desired, I could just go after that. And I think that my faith also played into that. You know, I from a little girl cultivated a relationship with God, and I think that my belief in Him, that He would and could dream bigger dreams for me than I had for myself, was another aspect that I'm hoping to share with other little girls who are like-minded, who perhaps have that same foundation or family that's kind of planting those seeds, or perhaps they don't. I hope that they'll find it, if they don't, in the pages of this book.
Girls of the World, that's the name of your 6th children's book. Wonderful illustrations as well. What motivated you to write this particular book?
You know, it's funny because all of the 5 prior books were really inspired by my son. I have one little boy who's now just turned 10. And this one was indirectly created after he started saying, and I was just noticing even from years ago, as a little boy, he would talk about, oh, pink and purple, that's for girls, or, oh, I'm not doing that, that's for girls, or cooking, oh, my wife will do that. He really had these boxes that he was putting genders in, not from anything that we were necessarily expressing at home, but I think that just things that he was just observing in society or picking up from school or his friends. And I started thinking about how the divisions were almost negative with regard to girls. It's like if you think about the common quotes that are associated with females, like, oh, you throw like a girl. Well, that's a bad thing, right? Or boys will be boys, to kind of excuse any kind of behavior. And I just decided, we need these positive affirmations associated with girls. We are bold, we are strong, we are brave, we are ambitious. That often when those little girls grow up to become women, you can be too ambitious. All of a sudden you're too bossy. But those kinds of terms are not considered derogatory when they're applied to men.
Your grandparents, I know, had a tremendous influence on you as well as your parents. Talk about that.
Certainly. I can remember, all of them are deceased now, but as I was growing up, and I lived to be an adult while I still had all 4 grandparents, but at various times in my childhood, I remember seeing all 4 of them down on their knees in prayer. Wow. And, there's a song that goes, somebody prayed for me, had me on their mind, took the time and prayed for me, and I'm so glad they prayed. And I am, I feel like I'm still living on, my grandparents' prayers. I was fortunate enough, my mom started going back to work when I guess I was about 2. And they brought a woman into the house, Elizabeth Hester, who came to change my diapers when I was 2. And by the time she left, she had really changed my life, because she really reinforced that idea, that foundation of faith that my parents had implemented first. And so I was, saying the sinner's prayer. I was born again. I was playing the tambourine all before, I graduated from elementary school, thanks to Mrs. Hester. So that was another person who was suggesting to me that I was good enough, that God doesn't make mistakes, and that I was His creation, and therefore the opportunities for me would be boundless. And again, these kinds of messages that made me feel that my trajectory in life was changed because it was limitless. I want girls of the world to have that. I'm thinking about, just even with current events today, we're talking about the WNBA draft, and I'm so impressed with the Caitlin Clarks and Angel Reese's and what they've been able to accomplish when they get their proper due, their shine. That quite often, we have this focus on male sports, but now we're starting to see that women can excel in any arena.
I know you've talked about your faith several times. We've just got a little bit of time left, but can you tell me how it influences your work in the world of news?
It's interesting, Terry. I think that quite often when I'm doing news, there's a little bit of separation of church and state, kind of legal, just kind of literally with regard to, reporting the news. I'm just kind of doing the facts. But what I really love about writing children's books is being an author. It gave me a chance to talk about the good news, really literally and figuratively there. And so I'm happy that I do have this outlet where I can really comfortably talk about and share my faith, which is so important to me.
Well, I want to mention that your latest book is called Girls of the World. It's available nationwide, got great illustrations as well as a wonderful message. And we thank you for being with us. I'm sure number 7 is on the way.
Thank you so much, Terry, for having me back. I so appreciate it.
Thanks,
Blessed to be with you.
Great to see you.